California Real Estate Update, September 2021, Southern California edition. And tonight we have in attendance quite a number of people. We got Nick Chang, we got Maggie, we got Julie Kevin, Howard, Carrie, Justin, Amy, Fan, TM, Zhang Bing. Who else we got? We got Carrie and then we got Shipping. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot more people coming. We got Mello and then we got Tanya. Well, welcome all. Tonight we have some exciting data to share with you guys. Our first guest is Jean Riley, and second guest is Kevin McClenahan, and I'll be your third presenter tonight. And our last presenter is Johnny Yu. All right, let's go ahead and get started with Jean Riley.
So
all right, Jean. All right, so why don't you go ahead and self-introduce and then give us a little introduction about what you're going to tell us today.
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Jean. I am a sentiment agent in San Diego. Been with sentiments forever since I got my license about 5 years ago. Enjoy every day of my licensing career, real estate career. So today I want to talk about some of the deals I just closed or going to close, and share with you some of the tip I have how to get the property into escrow, both from the listing side or and the buyer side. And then lastly, I'm going to close the introduction, the presentation with some numbers, just some key indicators of real estate, like median house sold, price sold, and things like that. So Kenny, if you can just bring up the first slide, that would be great. So the first slide actually is the number I took from, sorry about the small number, but those are the number I took from CAR's website, and it kind of showed the price differences, for the median price differences between August and July. And you can see the highlighted yellow highlight is in San Diego. So there's a small decrease in terms of a sold price. It's not that bad. It's almost like 3%, but it's not that bad. However, if you look at the year to year, this year August compared to last year August, we actually went up by 14%. So the price appreciation has gone up so much. Some of my clients say they wish they had bought, yesterday or last year. But if you didn't buy, last year, I still think it's a good time to buy, just because the interest rate is still very low, and also in the long run, house is going to appreciate anyway. So if you are buying for your primary residence, I don't think there's a lot of risk. Even if it's investment properties, as long as you calculate the return on investment, I think you'll be okay. I mean, pretty much all my clients make money for their investment property. So I work with roughly about 80 investors. We are actively managing about maybe 90 property. So I know all my clients make money, and I'm very happy for them. So if we go to the next slides, this is actually just a picture of a property I recently closed, and so Kenny, if you could share that one. So this one I want to share with you because I thought this is so interesting how we get the offer accepted. So this buyer came to me as a referred buyer. So this property is in Forest Ridge, zip code 92127. If you are familiar with San Diego, you will know this is the area with good school district, and especially Forest Ridge. I have sold and bought a few property for my client there, and we also do property management there. So this happened to be a townhouse, 3-bedroom, 3-story. The first floor has a bedroom, and then go upstairs, that's living room, dining room, and then if you go up one more story, then that's a 2 additional bedroom up on the 3rd floor. So the client was referred to me because they were not satisfied with their previous agents. Funny story was they actually got into escrow already with the previous agent, but they were not happy how the agents handle the transaction, specifically on the repair request. So they decided to cancel escrow, and then they came to me. So this actually happened to be the first property I showed them, the very first one. I only showed them, I think, 4 property that day, and we wrote the offer for this one, and we got it. So I talked to the agent ahead of time, and then I don't think the agent told me how much people are writing. She just say, give your highest and best. Usually that's a response I get when I ask people, listing agent, like, how are the number looking? Many times the listing agent will, if they want to be fair or if they want to sound like, not biased, they usually say, just give me your highest and best. So my buyer came up with a number. I didn't think that was going to be a winning number, even though I was the one writing the offer for them, just because I know usually people will go probably higher than that. But I have my secret weapons on how to get my offer on this offer acceptance. So for this one, I asked my buyer whether they feel comfortable, increase their earnest money deposit. So instead of typical 3%, I forget how many percent we did, but it was definitely much higher than 3%. And then I also asked them whether they feel comfortable to release part of the earnest money deposit once we pass the inspection contingency. So the reason I want to do that is to show the sellers we are really sincere in buying this home. So anyhow, we submit the offer, and then we did get seller multiple counter offer. If I remember correctly, the listing agent might have said they were countering 3 to 5 different people, and then my buyer pretty much gave up at that time because they were like, we are not going to increase our offer. This is the best offer we have. So I talked to the listing agent, and the listing agent was actually pretty friendly with me. She actually say, she encouraged me just still go ahead and send it, even though we are not going to increase the offer. So what we did is we just sent it back their original offer number. We didn't increase the price at all. And very surprisingly, we got that. And the listing agent said we won the offer. We won the over someone who actually paid $50,000 more than us. That's a lot of number. If so basically the person who came up with the highest offer happen to be needing to sell their own property first. So they are doing a sale contingency on the
Oh,
purchase of the home. And Kenny, I mean, with such a competitive market, you probably never, well, I shouldn't say you never, it's a very small chance you will get your offer accepted.
it is
Um, so
true.
I, yeah, so I
So
think that person only had 2 weeks to wait, but the seller didn't want to wait for 2 weeks to get another $50,000. They went with us. And also, we were able, because we get more earnest money deposit, and we also release earnest money deposit ahead of time. So I think that was definitely the reason we got the offer accepted. And then the inspection, there was a little hiccup for the inspection. And here's something I want to share with the agents if you happen to represent the seller. So I was given a repair invoice for AC ahead of time, and I was told the seller did a repair according to the invoice. But during the inspections, I discovered, because they also sent us the old pictures. They sent us the old inspection report, and I'm pretty detail attention person. So I was comparing the AC before versus now, and I found the serial number of the AC is still the same. And that's not what they describe what they did to the AC. So I actually called the company who provide the receipt. Well, actually, it was just I think it was just the estimate, and they told me they never did the work. So there was a discrepancy between what the seller say versus what we discover. So my buyer asked me to request the amount of money on the estimate. I actually heard this after work, after we closed. The agent told me the seller was actually not very happy. We request that, but the seller gave us half of the amount we requested, which was still better than nothing. Because the AC actually has nothing wrong with the AC. It just, I think the seller mistakenly thinking that was done, so she gave us that estimate. But anyway, so we closed, and we closed last Friday on this deal. The buyer is happy. They're going to do some remodeling to the home before they move in. So this is that. And then Kenny, if you could go down to the next slides.
All right,
This is
before
the
I move
listing I
to
just,
the next
oh,
slide, I do have a question.
yes.
Now, at the time you requested the repairs, did you still have your inspection contingency?
Yeah, I always kept that, even regardless how much pressure they gave me. Here's the things I found: in order to be a good real estate agent, you need to be able to handle the pressure, right? So Kenny, even if I have inspection contingency for 8 days, if I don't remove the inspection contingency, I can still request repair. Of course, the listing agent can give me the notice to perform, but it will buy me a couple more days, because I need to call the AC company to find out what's going on with that AC. So yeah, I didn't remove the contingency yet. I still have my contingency, and I think that's one of the reason they agreed to give us some money. So
All right, before we move on to the next slide, let me say hello to a few in attendance. Andrew, Maria, Elaine, Henry, Bala, Feng Jiao, Jenny, Joanna Cruz, Hannah, and Alec. You're all welcome. We're going to have some fun tonight. A lot of information to share. So next slide, please. Okay, slide
so the
number
next
3.
so next slide is I closed this listing. This is my listing. I closed it yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. So this is a two bedroom, two baths condo. Relatively inexpensive, has a great return on investment. I was actually expecting more offer, but I think I end up maybe getting five each offer, and the numbers are so similar. We decided to just pick a winning offer. And then after we picked the winning offer, we got another offer that was slightly higher and not too much higher. But anyway, that also shows timing is important. Get your offer in as soon as possible, because you don't know when they're going to pick the offer, select the offer. And also, if you think that you are going to be late, contact the listing agents. The listing agent know ahead of time you are sending an offer, and ask them to please wait for you, because usually listing agent will tell me, okay, if you are sending an offer, I can wait for you till a certain time. So this is kind of one of those. The buyer, what kind of repair request they have asked? I think they asked minimal things. There was some issue with the home, but minor, like window seal broken, and so I kind of figured out each window is probably $500 to $1,000. I believe the buyer might have just request $1,000 or something like that. My seller agreed. Oh, there was actually something I want to share with you on this deal. So one of my seller is foreigner, and so that's really, really important to. I think Kenny, you have shared FRTA, and then
Yes.
withholding, things like that. So this property happened to be owned by three individuals, which is not that common for my listings. Most of my listings are owned by husband and wife, but this happened to be husband, wife, and then the wife's sister. So I have three investors on this title, and then we managed this property for roughly about maybe 10 years, and they were ready to sell. So we put it on the market, and because I know my sellers are not in United States, and with the COVID, it's so difficult to get the the notary appointment at U.S. consular. So as soon as we have the accepted offer, I ask my seller to make appointment with the consular right away, and I also ask them to make multiple appointments, and that definitely pay off, because you just never know which appointment might actually get canceled, without any notices. So we actually were able to close pretty much on time without any delay. And then And also another thing, because we have multiple sellers, it's important to share with escrow the percentage of the proceed is going to go to each of the seller, so that way there's no dispute. So for this document, the escrow company actually had my seller notarized as well. So the grantee was notarized, and then the how the proceed was going to get paid out was notarized. And this deal, what I was actually also thinking about, Kenny, you probably heard about this. They can do notary online now, but under
Yes, of
very
course.
strict
But
circumstances.
is that in California or another place?
In California, I actually checked ahead of time already. I was going to do that until I remember one of my seller is not resident or U.S. citizen. You can only do that if you are U.S. citizen or resident. If you are
Correct.
foreigners, you cannot do this. And so I contact my title guy ahead of time because I know this will be important for the title company. If they don't approve it, I cannot use it. So I contact him ahead of time. He sent me the list of the criteria that need to be met. So if anyone's interested, I'd be happy to share that with you, or you can ask your title persons.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of
It
people are
can work.
interested. I am interested. So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Uh, I
Yes.
think if the seller is in California, same time zone as us, it's not as important.
Mhm.
If the seller is in a different time zone, uh, and of course, you will either have to use a notary in another state, or we use an online notary like this. Now, which title company did you have?
Mhm.
What's the name of the title
I
company?
typically use First American title. Yeah, I typically use First American title, and I think Kenny, you actually met the title guy, Phil Bakers. He's pretty good. Whenever I have questions, he always try to find the answer for me. So he told me it can work. It just need to meet all the criteria on the list he gave me.
Well,
So
it's good
it's
to
totally
know
doable. And in fact, the
how much in advance do you have to tell them?
notary.
The online notary.
Well, you need to pick the notary from the approved list. So there's like a certain list of notary you can use. You cannot use anyone. Um, if I know I'm going to do online notary, I'm going to work it out in the very beginning, just in case. If it doesn't work, I still will have my seller do the counselor, like in person notary. So if you have a listing and you know the seller is outside United States but they are residents or U.S. citizens, I think you can consider these options. In fact, the buyer's agent told me he just did a deal with notary like this. So
Well,
we were on the same page with this one. It just one unfortunately one of the sellers foreigner, so we couldn't do it with that seller. Yeah.
so what happens if you have a U.S. citizen who happens to reside in overseas now? Can you do the online notary?
Yeah, you could. You just need to meet all the criteria. And I think it has a deadline. I think you need to get it notarized before the end of this year. Maybe they do this because of COVID. I don't know. Maybe the deadline will be extended. It's just like it says
Okay.
this special document can only be done, if you meet those criteria. One of the criteria was you need to be notarized, I believe, before December 31st this year. And also this document can only be shown electronically. So if you print it out, I guess it's not valid or something because it's an online notary. That's like
I
a
see.
lot of interesting rule. But again, Kenny, it's a plan B, right? Because if you have a
Yes.
seller who couldn't go to US consular, this will be a perfect thing to do. Yeah. Or if they are sick, like they couldn't get out their bed to travel. So I think it's a good thing. I always learn different things on every deal, and that's why I enjoy sharing with our agents because I figure, if I can teach you guys, then you can spend less time, try to figure it out yourself. Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
good to know
So,
about that online
any other
notary.
question?
No, I think you answered my question.
Okay,
Thank you.
I can
Let's move
share.
on to the next one.
Yeah,
All right, next one. What's this one?
yeah, no problem. I can share more information with you, Kenny, if you are interested. Okay, so next one. This one is even also a very interesting story too. So this one was not even on the market. I fought, I fought it and I got it for my buyer before it got on the market. I was very happy. So so this the coming soon listing. And usually with coming soon listing, they will say no showing until a certain time. But there's always a but. But if you ask, sometimes they will say, okay, you can see it, things like that. So with this one, this agents happen to be Chinese. I haven't done any deal with this agent yet. But she was pretty easy to talk to, and I guess we have pretty good chemistry. So I just told her, I say, hey, Mrs. So-and-so, I really have a buyer who is urgently needing to buy a home. They sold their home already, and they this is a story. I pinned the pictures. I'm like 5 people, 2 adults, 3 children, 2 cats living in 1 bedroom apartment. They really need to move. So they are very motivated. So I'm like, can I go see it? And so she gave me the opportunity to see it. And then my buyer liked it. We submit the offer. And then I remember we also were not the highest offer either. I think so the agent told me she sent out seller multiple counter offers. So other people were thinking like us. And that's why one of the things, as an agent, you shouldn't be shy. You should have a thicker skin, Even though it says coming soon, you just never know. Maybe they can make that exception for you to see it. I don't know if violate any rule or not, but Kenny, you know me, I always try my best to help my buyer, right? So if she said I could see it, then I want to see it. If she said I
Oh
couldn't see it,
yeah,
then
yeah. I think you should give it a shot because
yeah, you should give a shot because you never know. Maybe it's a seller, right? Sellers are not bound by the real estate rule. So if I
yeah,
happen to be contacting, because sometimes they do give the seller contact information. If it's a seller occupied, owner occupied property, it will say contact the seller for appointment. Or if it happen to be like a for sale by owner, they just happen to list on MLS, then you contact them. I think they can still let you see it. In fact, there's another property I'm going to show it for my buyer. The agent happened to be the seller, and it's coming soon. So I'm pretty sure that agent will let me see that property. So anyway, so I contact that, and then we make a negotiation. And this is also the one I use. Since my buyer already sold their home, they do have a huge amount of down payment. And so I asked my buyer, would you be willing to put all the down payment you have as an earnest money deposit, just to show how serious you are? And my buyer told me they feel comfortable because they are my friend for 20 years. They know I'm not going to screw up, the deal for them. So they have trust in me, and I feel like then I can do my job for them. And so we submit the offer. We got seller multiple counter offer. The agent told me they are counting. Oh, this is also the property we use special numbers. So some of the offers, I don't offer round numbers. Like I don't offer 700. I might offer 700 and 500 some cents, or things like that. Whatever lucky number the buyer has, I use their lucky number. And that way buyers are more connected with you as well, because they feel like you are respecting them, in terms of their special number. So anyhow, I use that. And then also that creates a memory, for the listing agent as well, because you didn't come with a common number. Anyway, the seller multiple counter offer, the listing agent told me she sent out 3. 2 people has a higher number, like 1.65 million, I think. And then ours was 1.62 AAA. AAA happened to be the lucky number for these buyers. I think I picked the lucky number for them. Anyway, so we got that.
well,
And
congratulations. So it's in escrow right now. Has it closed?
we supposed to close on the 30th. And so here's the thing, Kenny, this is what I also want to share. If you know your sellers are foreigners, always make that preparation ahead of time, because this seller happened to be in China, and I represent the buyer. So the listing agent told me they were originally thinking about coming to the U.S., sign brandy in the U.S. Unfortunately, I guess their visa didn't get approved or something happened. They couldn't come. So they make the appointment with the counselor, and it's going to delay the closing.
Of
for sure.
course, of course. Now earlier you talked about making multiple appointments. The consulate will give you multiple appointments for the same person.
Yep. Or you can have 2 people, right? right? Husband and wife, you each make appointment, right? I mean, it's very easy. I mean, when because I do a lot of deal like this, I always tell my seller to make appointment and then watch it every single day. Because some people will cancel, then they will have a window open. Just quickly grab that window open space, the slot.
All right,
So
somebody
I
has a
did.
question. I'm not sure what your
Yes.
question is, but it says, did you mention that you have provided earnest deposit before escrow? So I think what he meant to ask is that normally you don't provide earnest money before an escrow was open. So he was wondering whether you
Um,
provided the EMD before the escrow was even open.
No, we were waiting for the escrow to open, but the escrow opened pretty quickly. I think it was in fact, the listing agent asked me who I use for the escrow company because the escrow officer she used was going to retire, and so I
Oh,
gave her my escrow officer. She didn't end up using mine, but it doesn't really matter to me whoever they use. It just I think maybe that question was asking what I do with the earnest money deposit. So here the funny things about earnest money deposit for this story as well. My buyer was willing to put, I believe, $450,000 earnest money deposit because that was their down payment. And guess what,
oh,
Kenny? I think the seller's agent might have made a mistake, an honest mistake. She counted back 3%. So instead of getting $450,000, you only get 3% of 160. So how much is that? 50,000
oh,
each?
she counted for less EMD.
Yes. Yes.
Why did she
So I
do
didn't say
that?
anything because that's good for my buyer, right? So
Yeah,
I
of
didn't say
course.
anything.
Maybe she did not pay attention.
Maybe she did that. Maybe she didn't pay attention. Maybe because the sellers are foreigner, it doesn't really make any huge differences to them. So, but here's the thing. I also provide a release of earnest money deposit. I think I wrote it on the original purchase offer, $100,000. So if I put 450,000, I release 100,000. That's still okay, right? But when
Yeah,
when the counter came back as 3%, it's not even 100,000 because 3% is, like I said, almost about 50,000, right? So it's
yeah.
not enough. I cannot release $100,000. So when the listing agent asked me, "Hey, Jing, are you releasing $100,000?" That's when I told them, "Hey, you know why on the seller multiple counter offer it says 3%? So we'd be happy to release 3%, but not 100,000 because we never put in
I
100,000."
think she just did not think clearly. That's what happened.
Correct. But like I say, I represent the buyer, right? So I'm not going to say anything if it's good for my
Of course,
buyer.
you don't. Yeah, you don't say anything. All right, let's look
But
at the next slide.
sure. The next slide is in Escondido, and so this is my personal property. I finally purchased the house after I got real estate license. Anyway, um, so this property it's a pretty unique property. It's sitting on 3 acre of land, and I like huge lots, and so I also like privacy, and so I talked to Darby, and then I literally only went to see that house twice, and I make the offer, and I was thinking to myself, I'm a real estate agent. If I couldn't get the offer accepted, how embarrassing would that be? Right, Kenny? But I got it. So anyway. That's
Okay,
that.
all
I
right,
will be
great.
sharing more
Congratulations
once
on
we
that
close.
one. So let's go ahead and look at this one. So
Yeah.
what's this one? Average sales price?
Okay, so yeah, so this is the average sales price, and we'll probably reduce that so we can see.
Yeah, I
So
reduced it
there
already.
it's okay. So if you look at the graph, you're going to notice it is dropping a little bit. It's just very similar to the first table I showed. CAR also say the sold price, between July and August has reduced a little bit. So, but the thing is, you know what? I am not that concerned though, because this is real estate is seasonal. So usually, summer will get you the highest number, and after that, the purchase price, the sales price will reduce, will drop. So I don't think the
Okay.
market is crashing. I don't think it might be one of the indications of the market is I mean crashing a little bit, but I don't feel it just because it is seasonal, and I see this pretty much every year. So the next one is the
Okay, next slide.
Kenny, if you could go to the medium, I think the next one is a medium sales price, right? Is that a medium sales
Yeah,
price?
that's
So
right.
medium sales price is pretty flat. Yeah. Again, it shows very similar, kind of similar graph. And then if you go to the next one, I think the next one says the new listing. So my buyers are complaining to me, Jean, you told me there will be more houses coming on the market. I don't see them. I'm like, I don't see them either. Because the new listing are decreasing. There are not a lot of listing. But again, remember I talked about real estate is seasonal, so this actually matched the shape of the previous year too. That's usually increase, I mean in the spring and summer, and after summer the numbers start decreasing. So
Yes.
that's that. So nothing to be
Okay.
too alarmed yet. And next one is I think the active listing. There are not that many houses to buy right now. There's only a little bit over 2,000 houses to buy. I only select the single family detached home, so it's only about 2,000. And
Okay.
then the next size is the medium days on market. The medium days on market is kind of flattened off. Kenny, if you
Next
could go
slide.
to the next slide, please.
Yes, medium days on market. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So the medium days on market used to be lower. You can see earlier this year used to be a little lower. So now it went up, but not by that much. I think we are spoiled right now. Like if the house is not going to escrow in a week or 2 weeks, you think something's wrong. But if you look at previous year or the year before, 2019, the medium days on market was 30 some days, right? So we are really spoiled right now. You list that you got sold quickly. The next one is the inventory. Month's inventory is reducing slightly, not too bad, but compared to previous 2 years, the inventory it is really really low. That's why buyers are still having a hard time buying their properties. Some of the properties I recently submitted offer for one of my buyer. I forget, it was list for 1.2, maybe 1.2 to 1.3, and then my buyer offered 1.46. The agent told me he think it's going to be sold for 1.5 to 1.6, and that's what he told me. He's like, I think he got like more than 10 offer or about 1.5. That number is really crazy. Because it's in
So
the
there's a
community I live, so I
question.
put.
Are the charts only for San Diego area?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, this is
Well,
only for San Diego. I only pour San Diego. Yeah,
all right.
pour San Diego for single family home. And then the next one, we're going to look at the median price per square foot. So it's still increasing. It's So here's the thing. I will end this presentation pretty quickly, but by sharing with you some of the questions I got asked by my buyers or sellers. So recently, I have a lot of buyers ask me, Jean, should I buy? I mean, the rumors are say the market is crashing. Should I wait till next year? And then I told them, I say, I think the market just I buy a home myself. So if I probably will not be buying right now, but I feel like market is still very strong, and I just happen to like that house, and we have the fund to buy it, so might as well go ahead and make that investment. So I will say market. I think I read a lot of different predictions right now. Conservatively, people are still here. 5% is a lot. If I for $100,000, that would be $1 million. That would be 50,000, right? It's hard. It's very hard for someone to save $50,000 a year.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you might as well buy it and then save that money. And that's it, Kenny.
All
I'm
right.
done
Thank
with
you.
my
Now
presentation.
let me go
Thank you.
to Kevin McClenahan. Kevin, if you're ready, I'm switching to you right now. Kevin, you ready?
Okay, yeah, welcome
All right.
everyone. Thank you, Kenny.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, what areas you specialize in, and what you're going to share with us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'm a realtor here with CenterMac in San Diego, and I do a lot of East County business. And specifically, my specialty is actually probate and trust. But along with Gene Riley, I've in the past done a lot of open houses, and one of the pillars of my business was open houses. And so this COVID came along and kind of ruined our party with the open houses. So things are picking back up again. I'm back to doing open houses. But I also picked up that probate and trust specialty. And I do like working a lot in the East County. Gene was talking about, there's about 2,000 new listings in San Diego County. And of that, East County really has about 18%, right? So in terms of numbers of the new listings, it's about 350 new listings in the East County as compared to all of San Diego County, which is about 2,000 new listings. So that gives you a little comparison there. Kenny, do you have, you got some charts for us?
Yes, I do. And here your chart. Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Now, the past two times that I've spoken, I'm a real chartist, and from price charts we can see, just like we can in the stock market, in the equity market, we can see human behavior in mass, what their behavior is, and what the results of that behavior is, and so. Social psychologists, really back in the probably back in the 40s, right, during World War II, but definitely right after the war, they were interested in how people act in large numbers, and so individuals may act erratically and unpredictably, right, but as a group, as large numbers, we become more and more predictable. Okay, so a lot of and so if you can understand human behavior by looking at a chart, then it will better help you to advise your buyers, your sellers, right? Because you're a fiduciary, and we want you to have uh, as you spend time in the business, right, in the real estate business, we want you to have more and more skills. And so I want you to be able to look at a chart and just glance at a chart and say, oh, okay, this is what's going on with this chart. So this is median price per square foot. And so what I did was I marked off this chart. And in the past, I've talked about the angle of ascent being like a check mark. So if you'll look on this chart and the gray arrow, that's what's called a continuation pattern, or it is going to continue if it stays at this angle of ascent, right? It's climbing from left to right. So if you look at that angle of ascent, that will continue until it reaches its previous highs. So if we look to the left there, on this chart, we can see that previous highs were about $300 per square foot. And so sure enough, the gray arrow brought us back up to $300 per square foot. And that happened in the 2017 to 2019, 2020 range, right? And then it just took off, right? So during COVID, price per square foot went dramatically high. And so, but look at the angle of ascent though, right? The angle that we're climbing is what we call parabolic, or almost straight up, like a rocket launch. That angle of ascent is unsustainable, okay? So what does that mean? It can't continue, all right? So it's just like musical chairs, right? We're all circling around, and when the music stops, you want to find a seat to sit in, right? Well, you don't want to be the person that can't find a chair because then you're out of the game. All right. So this chart is, I think, particularly important because we can see that, you know, uh, number one, we have a fear of missing out, right? We call it FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Number two, we want social affirmation, right? We want confirmation that other people are thinking the same things that we are. And that's why price kind of hung around that $300 per square foot before it took off. Okay, so so I hope that's helpful to you folks. We talked about it the last two times that I was on, and I just wanted to draw some arrows and pictures and levels here so that folks could really interpret this chart. The bottom line is, angle of ascent at about 45 degrees, 30 to 45 degrees, that's sustainable. Once you get beyond 45 degrees, it's not sustainable. The music's going to stop at some point. The last time I was on, I said, hey, we're going to get a correction here. And, within a week, we had a correction in the stock market and then a pause here in our housing market as well. Kenny, go ahead, next chart. Let's take a look at that.
Yes, excellent.
I hope that's helpful for people. Active listings, just talking about, in terms of the active listings, we're at 273 active listings. New listings coming on the market, 350. It's about 18%. So if you look at East County of San Diego as a whole, you can just remember we're 18 to 20% of the total San Diego County market. Okay. Go ahead, next slide.
Okay.
I'm looking for one that I've marked up. Okay, so this is quite interesting. Months supply. So in East County, you saw there in San Diego, we've got about 1.5 to 2 months worth of supply. Well, in East County, we have 30 days of supply, 1 month, and that's it. And so, as things slow down a little bit, then, that supply may come back up to 2 months, right? So, but right now we're at 1 month supply. I think what's important to notice about this chart, this is what we call a head and shoulders pattern. And of this head and shoulders pattern, we can look at the double peaks, the purple lines here, right at the top, right? You've got those twin peaks right at the top, and they approximate each other, right? So they're about the same height there. Whenever you get a double top in any chart, now this is any price chart, right? So human behavior is on large numbers is predictable, just in case you're just joining us, and it can be charted. And charts are important to look at because, hey, guess what? Once we have that double top in terms of months of supply, then you know that the market is heating up, okay? As inventory declines, right, as supply declines, prices increase. It's the law of supply and demand, right? So once you see that double top in the market, if you've been being lazy and you haven't been prospecting and you haven't been doing anything in the business, you want to really get busy, right, and get to prospecting because the likelihood, the urgency with which buyers are coming to the market, the urgency with which sellers are coming to the market, right, increases. Once that inventory begins to fall, right, then what was that book? Jonathan Livingston Seagull, right? The life of a goal is short. The limited resources leads to an increased struggle for those resources, okay? So you can look at it that way. The less inventory there is, the more scrambling there is, right, for that limited resource, that inventory, all right? So I think that's important. So that double top, where the purple lines are, that double top, that just means that extended inventory has stopped there, and we're going to have a decline. Where would we decline to? We would look that on the left-hand side of this chart, that first golden arrow is the shoulder. That's the right shoulder, and we're looking for uh, some pause in price there at the at the left shoulder, but there was no pause whatsoever. So any kind of bounce in that chart would be short-lived and then continue to decline. And sure enough, we can see those things. So in that chart. So when you look at an inventory chart like this, there is some urgency there. Does everybody see that? Does anybody have questions about this chart? Because that is, if you can notice that at a glance, then your behavior, your actions should should have some urgency to them. If you haven't been working or calling people back or prospecting like you should have, right, then you know a chart like this should kind of light a fire underneath you. All right? All right, the next chart. Thank you, Ken.
Okay, next chart. All right.
All right, so this is what we call an ascending wedge, right? What happens is that this is the median percentage of original price, all right? And so what has happened is it's gone from 105% all the way down to about 101%, all right, the current price. So why is this important to know this information? Well, number one, if you're a listing agent, you've got to know where to price the property so that it will sell. Price is an advertising mechanism. It is 85% of all the advertising you're going to do. Is there any questions about that? Price is so important when you have got a listing. That's why, when Jean was talking last month about pricing and how she does her comparative market analysis, I mean, time just stopped for me, and I wrote notes as quickly as I could, right? Because Jean has got just very precise pricing, and she is able to look at the charts and look at these price projections and price a property just so close to market price at the money, and so that it inspires buyers to come in and bid on that price. Okay, so price is really quite important. She had a $1.6 million listing up in Carlsbad that's now pending that I did open house for, and I was running the numbers and I say, gee, 5% over market price is another $80,000. But 1% over market price is only, $16,000, right? So it's really quite important when you're advising your buyers, right, on your residential purchase agreement. When you put your offer in, it's really important to know what this number is, the median percentage of original price. So sure enough, if you've got a buyer, you've got to advise them, hey, the home is at $1 million, but we have got to be prepared, right? If you're at 105%, 105%, your buyers have got to be prepared to overpay, right, by $50,000 to get that home. Okay, good. I'm glad that is making some sense in that.
Well, somebody said it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So these are critical. We go over these charts every month, and I think it's sometimes it's sensory overload. It's too much information for new agents, but this is our trade. This is what we do day in, day out. Every conversation that we have with a buyer or a seller has everything to do with these charts, okay? So when you see a chart like this, you can tell that the ceiling was 100. Look at my horizontal red line. You could tell that the ceiling was 100% for years and years. If you look back to 09, 010, right, 2010, all the way back to 04, there's been a ceiling on the market where, buyers just do not want to pay more than market price, or I'm sorry, asking price for a property. Okay, but now we're in this environment where, uh, gosh, you've got to have an extra $50,000 to $80,000 in the bank to make sure that you've got enough money to bid, right? If you get into a bidding war. All right, so this chart is really important to see this chart. That type of a wedge, you get pressure, and once it breaks out, then typically it'll come back and we call it runners tagging up. So if you play baseball at all, and you've got to lead off the base, and you got to come back and tag up before you go to second or third base, right? So typically what will happen is, if you've got a level here that's predefined at 100%, price will pop up above that, it'll come back and it'll test that 100%, and then it'll go higher. All right, so this chart really clearly shows that. So hopefully that's helpful. Kenny, I think we got
last slide. Yeah, okay. That's it.
And this is a descending wedge, so this is opposite, right? What the chart that we just looked at. And what you can see is that 10 days on the market had been the support level, right? That's as low as we went, was 10 days on the market. Then we went to 8 days, and 6 days on the market. I mean, that's where we're at in East County in San Diego. 6 days on the market. Good morning, right? So that is, oh my gosh, that is so fast, right? So, I mean, I've had that in the past with a condo where, I had open houses on Saturday and Sunday. I had 5 offers on Monday, and we accepted on Tuesday, and we were in escrow on Wednesday. So that's about as fast as it happens. That pace, what I just told you, that's 6 days on the market. All right, well, wonderful. Thank you, Kenny.
All right. Thank you so much, Kevin McClenahan. Now, I was going to be number 3, but then I want to save the best for last. So,
okay.
Not to...
I thought Johnny was the best. Come on now. What's the deal?
Johnny, you want to go first? I'll let you go first. He was getting impatient already. All right, Johnny, you next. Okay. All right, Johnny, you are... Go ahead and start talking.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Johnny with Center Mac Realty and Central Funding. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Today, I'm going to discuss a little bit about finance, particularly around mortgage, but more specifically in terms of portfolio or non-QM financing. Now, what is portfolio and non-QM financing? Well, those are financing where we're not doing your traditional financing, where borrowers provide tax returns, pay stubs, and all the income documents. Sometimes these type of programs are referred to as stated income, just in general, but there are different types of programs that fall under these portfolio and non-QM. Now, non-QM stands for non-qualified mortgage. Okay, so Kenny, could you put this slide up for me, sir?
Of course. Here you go.
So there are a ton of different type of programs that lenders and different various lenders have, and majority of them are tailored to the specific type of clients that they're hoping to attract. I listed 3 here, 3 that I see very common and that I use quite frequent. Okay. The first one is the DSCR program. Now, what does DSCR stand for? DSCR stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. Okay, and I indicated 1-to-1 ratio or no ratio. Now, the 1-to-1 ratio or no ratio will vary depending on the lender programming guidelines and what the down payment is. So, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail in program guidelines, but just in a nutshell, in terms of DSCR program, if you're depositing 20% down, okay, so investors, again, this particular program is designed for investors and for investment property. So if you're putting 20% down what the lender has stated, that if the total rent covers the total housing cost, that's principal and interest on the loan, property tax, and home insurance, and HOA. Okay, we sometimes refer to that as a PITI or PITIA if there's an HOA. As long as the rental income covers the entire housing expense, then that matches the 1-to-1 ratio where lender will lend money on.
May I
Okay.
ask you something?
Sure.
Now, with this program, oftentimes, how is this one different from stated income?
Stated income is a little bit different. Traditional stated income is generally designed for self-employed individuals. As you know, many business and self-employed individuals make a ton of money, but on paper, because of the amount of deductions that they take, they're poor on paper. So self-employed individuals will simply state what their income is, and a lot of the lenders and their programs will request a CPA letter or a CPA prepared P&L in lieu of tax returns to help them qualify and somewhat verify their income.
Okay,
Does that
so
make sense?
for the DSC, are the borrowers required to submit tax returns?
No. So on the DSCR, so if you're putting 20% down and you have the 1-to-1 ratio, then only thing that they require is a lease agreement from a tenant. So, for example, let's say the total PITIA or the total housing cost was $2,000 per month, right? And as long as the loan amount is 2,000, you've satisfied the 1-to-1 ratio, and all they require is that lease agreement. Now, even better is if you're putting a down payment of 35% or more, this DSCR program does not require anything.
Come again? No lease agreement required?
No lease agreement required. No income documents required.
What
Just
about rent roll? Are they asking for rent roll or no?
Nope. What the lender has determined that if an investor is depositing or putting a down payment of 35% or more, they have determined based on certain algorithms and market analysis that the rental should cover the loan amount in any ratio. So they've come up with a program where if they're putting 35% or more down on an investment property, no lease agreement, no income documents is required. So
So,
this is a fantastic program for, investors or individuals buying investment property.
well, the thing is what kind of interest rates are we talking about?
Not bad. Now, generally, these non-QM portfolio loan programs are generally going to have higher interest rates. Now, interest rates will vary. The reason why I'm not really discussing a whole lot in terms of interest rates is that it'll vary based on your credit score and the loan to value or the loan amount in relation to the purchase price. So lower the loan to value, higher the credit score, then it's going to spit out a better interest rate. Now, this interest rates, you're looking at anywhere from 4% to, as high as probably 5%. But again,
Okay.
it all varies based on different criterias and credit profile.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Okay. Now, the next one is another simple program. Now, this program is called the VOE program. Now, what does VOE stand for? Verification of Employment. So there are a lot of employees or individuals that work, but oftentimes they're either paid under the table or portion is paid with a check and a portion is paid with cash. So when they report their tax returns, it doesn't really show a true, accurate picture of what their true income is. So in a program like this, the employee will simply state what they truly make, right? Uh, and what their other incomes may be, and the lender is what's called an employment verification. Sometimes it's done through just a simple phone call, just to indicate to find out the employee actually works for that employment or employer, or with a verification of employment form. We call that a written verification of employment form. Or sometimes they will use a third party like Equifax, where they will call the employer and send the owner or HR or whoever in charge an email where the owner or the employee, the manager, will fill out an employment verification form. It's a program that's quite popular, especially for, again, individuals who doesn't necessarily reflect what their true income is on paper.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. And the interest rate on programs like this could go as low as, 3.625 to all the way as high as, 5%. Again, it all depends on how much you're putting down, what your credit score is. And your credit score and down payment is a major factor in determining where your rate will fall.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other program is, again, a standard state income program for self-employed individuals. A lot of business owners make a ton of money. Unfortunately, due to all the deductions that they write off, on paper they're not making a whole ton of money. So one of the ways to circumvent this is they have a program called P&L loan program, where we will request a letter from the CPA indicating that the borrower has been self-employed for more than 2 years and the business is still active, and request a CPA prepared P&L.
Okay.
And with that said, there are a lot of other other programs, but these are your three main ones where I find it pretty successful and easy to do.
Now the P&L, how do they decide based on the CPA's letter? How much? What is the loan amount the borrower can qualify for?
Well, based on the loan amount that the borrower needs, and then we'll do an income analysis, based on what their current liabilities are, their current debts, car payments or any other debts that they may have on their credit report. Then we'll do a debt to income ratio. And based on that debt to income ratio, different lenders have certain ratios. Generally, they're about 45 to 43%. Now, essentially what that means is once we look at your overall gross income with the current loan that they're applying for, plus any of their current liabilities, that monthly liability amount needs to stay within 43 to 45% of the gross income. So we kind of work the numbers backwards. And we let the borrower know based on the
Hold
income
it.
that we show.
Question: what if the business is losing money?
Well, if the business is losing money, generally the borrower is not going to be in the market to buy a house.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So most of the time, whether the business on paper may be showing, a negative net profit, right? But in reality, it's a different picture. So we just state to the borrower, please have your CPA write us a letter indicating you've been self-employed for more than 2 years, and a CPA prepared P&L indicating a net profit of X dollar amount is what we need to qualify you. And then it's up to the borrower and the CPA to put their numbers together and to provide that P&L for us.
Okay, follow-up question. Will they qualify if it's like an S corp?
Absolutely. Any business.
Okay, all right, wonderful, Johnny. That was a wonderful presentation, very educational. I
Yep.
too learned a few things tonight.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Welcome.
thank you for your contribution. I'll come back to you at the conclusion. Now it's
All right,
my
sir.
turn to share some information with you guys. As you know, I don't normally share stuff, so if I do share stuff, I hope it matters. Tonight, I'm going to share with you two properties that could be, one of them could be an opportunity, well, both of them could be opportunities for either yourself or some of your buyers. Now, the first one that I'm going to talk about is the one in Harupa Valley. Now, that's the one that's going to be activated in the MLS tomorrow. It is located at 5606 Sepulveda Way, Harupa Valley. It is listed at 545,000. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2286 square feet. It's got good value in it. I think even if your buyer does not want to live in Harupa Valley, it is definitely a good investment property. So I just want to show you a video that Justin took a couple of days ago, so you can see what the property looks like. And then the other property is the one that was referred to me by someone that I know. She is a asset manager. She knows that I handle difficult properties like this. You know, during the Great Recession, one of the things I used to do is to negotiate short sales. Now, we don't see too many short sales lately. However, I think you might be seeing some coming up. This is a unique short sale. I can't really say short sale yet because it does have some equity, but the house, I went to see the house today. It is in a very dilapidated condition compared to the pictures that were taken when my buyer first bought it a few years ago. They were two different properties. You can't even say, is that the property? I'll show you the pictures when it was looking really, really good. Unfortunately, I don't have the pictures as it exists today, but I guarantee you, if you're a buyer, you wouldn't want to buy it unless you're an investor or if you want to flip homes. So that is a great opportunity for fixer-upper, for investor who wants to make a profit. Now, certainly, you know, you don't expect a regular buyer to buy that property. Now, this one is in Sierra Madre. I will not give you the address simply because it has not hit the market yet. I just went to see the property today. I just submitted my listing agreement. I have yet to receive it back, so I don't even know if I have a listing yet, but the client had indicated that she wanted me to handle the sale. Well, why did she hire me is a more interesting question. This property is located on a hillside. It's got fantastic view of the mountainside. During the day and sometimes at night, you have deers walking in your backyard or in front of you. Okay. You have all kinds of wildlife that you can get used to. Of course, they have coyote. I think they had the chickens that were eaten by the coyotes, so they stopped rearing chickens there. Okay, now let's go to the property in Harupa Valley. I'll show you the video and I'll give you a quick tour of that property. Now, this is the fixer I was telling you, but the picture you're looking at is so different from the scenes that I saw today. When I went there, right away I see that it's a fixer, okay? And the owner found me because she was having a conversation with her church friend, and she was talking to the church friend about a lawsuit that she had with a neighbor. It has to do with, that lawsuit has to do with some right-of-way issue. As you know, Sierra Madre, it's on a hillside. And if you go to Sierra Madre, as you drive up the hill, the road is really narrow, and most of the time only one vehicle can pass through. Now this particular property happened to be located at a spot. Yeah, it looks really nice right now because it's got really great view. Now let me show you the rest of the picture, then I'll tell you more story, okay? All right. Okay, so you can see this, okay, from your home. All right. When I was there, I saw the mountain view. It was really, really beautiful. Okay. Now this is the inside. The inside as it exists today doesn't look anything like this. In fact, it's beyond recognition. That's all I can say, because when I saw the pictures, after I saw the place today, I said, oh my God, what did they do to the property? Oh my God, there's all kinds of junks in there. I think there was dust all over the place. I don't know what happened, but when she was living there, it has 2 bedrooms. So downstairs there is a living area. It's technically not legal bedrooms, but she used that extra space to run Airbnb. Well, this is a great house to run Airbnb from, because I think if you have visitors from out of town, either from foreign countries or from another state, to be able to enjoy a view like this on Sierra Madre, that's really, really nice. She was telling me that when she was running Airbnb, she could earn about $4,000 a month just running Airbnb. She manages it herself. Okay. I did not see the hardwood floor like this. No, not today. This is a nice kitchen. The kitchen that I saw today, oh my God. You right away, this house requires a lot of work. Okay. Now let me just kind of share with you the rest of the story. Okay, you've seen all the pictures already. Now let's go back to my screen here. So I got a call from her. She said, I got a house to sell. Okay, right away I got excited. So I called her right back, and she said, but then there are some court orders. Okay, so during the conversation, I sort of gathered some idea about what she's talking about. So she had this lawsuit with a neighbor that is upstairs to her. And ever since she moved in here in 2018, she was having issue with the neighbor. I think the neighbor had a dispute with her because they had a dispute with her about, you see the picture here. I want to show you that picture so you can appreciate what the dispute was. Of course, we have to make full disclosure if we sell this property. That's another reason why we're only listing it at apparently I don't have the picture, but just let me just describe it. There is a really nice flat area in front of a house. When she bought it, she didn't realize that she did not own any of that. By deed, by recorded instrument, it seems that either her neighbor owns some of it or the United States government. So I think they went to court. The court decided that nobody really, no private persons actually owned that little area that was in dispute. The owner, the neighbor that sued her because she actually paved that area that the neighbor claimed. By paving that area, she prevented other people from driving over what she claimed to be her property. And her defense is that, well, if I don't protect my my turf, so to speak, I may have cars driving onto my property and damaging my property. So she kind of paid over it. And after the trial was over, the court found against her, and the court ordered her to remove the pavement, the paved area. And because of that, whoever that buys this property, she doesn't want to remove the cement that she poured. She poured a lot of cement. I think she poured, she told me, close to 3 feet of cement. So it's going to cost a lot of money to remove the cement. But for somebody who's in this kind of business, this kind of thing don't deter them. Now, I checked on Redfin. Redfin priced this one at $977,000. Okay. Now, if you look at this property, yeah, maybe someone will pay $977,000 for that. But if you look at the condition it is today, we have to price it low. She bought it for $700,000. Got a loan for $650,000. The down payment was only like 5%. Now, what we're simply going to do, if she does sign the listing agreement, we're just going to sell it as a fixer, and then put it on the market and get the highest bid and sell it to the highest bidder. Whoever want to overbid the $700,000 that we're looking for is going to get the property, because we will either sell it at no profit, no net gain to her, or it's going to be a short sale. If you don't even get $700K, then it will be a short sale. We don't know which way yet. The short sale issue has been discussed. As you know, if there is a short sale, normally the seller cannot get another mortgage for the next 4 years. Of course, it is better than being in foreclosure. Okay, now this property is under forbearance, so a couple of months behind. They're not interested in keeping it. So if you have somebody that is interested in investing the money to turn this property into what you see in the photo, you might be able to make some profit, but it's not for me. I'm not in that business. But I know some people that are in that business. So if you're interested, let me know. Even if I don't have a listing, I know I'm probably going to get the listing, but until it is signed, you cannot be sure. So if I get the listing, you can always let me know if you are interested. If one of your buyers is interested, we can put together a deal, but it is not going to be an easy deal, because we have to deal with a judgment. On that judgment, the judge ordered them to restore the paved area to what it used to look like before it was paved. So that's a court order. So whoever that buys it may have to take over that. Okay, maybe you give it to an investor and say, hey, we're gonna have to. It also looked to me like a tear down. It is a tear down. To me, it really is a tear down, because it doesn't look anything like that in the photo. Okay, it is in a pretty bad condition. So most likely a tear down. If the investor is going to tear it down, then investing a little bit extra to remove the cement in the cement area, it's okay. Another way to resolve it with the next door is maybe pay them some money and allow the owner to not have to remove the pavement, even though it's a court order, but they just lost the case. Judgment has not been signed yet, so there's possibly opportunity to negotiate a settlement even before the judgment is signed. So yeah, definitely interesting opportunity, and I just thought that it's interesting enough for me to share with you guys during the market update. Okay, that's it. So let me go back to the original screen so we can talk to the expert. And everybody still alive? All right. Let's see. Is Johnny here? Are you okay? Johnny. Oh, he's in the green room. So let me put him in. He's still in the green room. All right, Johnny. All right, Johnny. Hopefully I can hear you. It seems like you have muted yourself. You gotta turn on your volume. You might have accidentally muted yourself. That's okay. I'll start with Jean first. Okay. Now I'm gonna pose the same question to each of you. The question is this: as we know, state of California did not extend the September 30th deadline for the eviction moratorium. Now, given the fact that the eviction moratorium will be over, what do you see is going to happen to the real estate market after the eviction moratorium has ended?
I go first?
Yeah.
I would say inventory will increase. Maybe not significantly, but for sure will increase because one of my landlord want to sell the property. The tenant's actually a paying tenant. He never late for the payment, but because the eviction moratorium, we couldn't give the 60 days notices. So finally, the window is open for us. We can finally sell. And so you're going to see more inventory on the market, but I just don't think it's going to be significant. It's not going to flood the market right away because some of the people want to remodel the house or remodel property before put on market. So that's what I think will happen.
All right, Kevin, share your thoughts. Let's see, are you on mute? Okay, you are on. Did I mute you? Yeah, now I hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, good, everybody. All right, super. Gene, thanks so much. Always appreciate your insights and pick up on taking notes as you guys go. Johnny, I learned so much from you tonight too, so thank you for you. And Kenny, as usual, thank you so much for your insights. So this lifting of the moratorium, so I'm looking for increased defaults. We're looking for increased defaults. Employment, still there's a big gap there. There's I think families are having difficulty with childcare. All right, women in particular have a big concern about childcare and may not have gone back to work. So we've got our employment numbers are still low. I think the defaults are going to rise, and more inventory means more supply, right? So we're going to get a softening in prices, I believe. And probably with more inventory, we're going to get more days on the market as well. So, keep those themes in mind and let's see if they happen, right? So, I had said, hey, there's going to be a little correction here. We're having a correction, but, keep in mind that we're here in San Diego. We're advising in San Diego. We're so seasonal, all right? So, and behavior is predictable in large numbers year over year. And so, Gene has shown us that cyclical chart, and really the numbers bear it out that, beyond, June and July, the market started to kind of ease off a little bit. So we're looking for a little bit increase in defaults. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Now, Johnny, I'm going to ask you a different question. The question I have for you is, which way do you see the interest rates going? All right, you are muted. You are muted. You have to unmute yourself. Hold on a second. Let's see. You have muted yourself. Sometimes what happens is it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes you just have to rejoin. Okay, but I think it has to do with your internet. Okay, all right. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to end the show right now, and you're welcome to share your thoughts with us in the line group. Okay, so sorry about that and technical difficulty. Okay, I tried to help Johnny, but it's just not working. All right, nothing to do with you. I think. All right, give him a minute. Maybe he'll come back and be able to speak to us. But I definitely would like to hear his thoughts on where the interest rates are going. Because that's the question I've been getting. Johnny's back.
Well,
Okay.
the Federal Reserve came on and said that they were
All right,
not gonna
Johnny.
change the interest rates.
Yes, sir.
Which way are the interest rates going? Yeah, can you hear? I can hear you.
Yeah. So in the last week and a half, we've been seeing a slight uptick in the interest rates for conforming loans. It's hard to say with the stock market going where it's at and with the 10-year Treasury, but naturally in the next year to 2 years, we will see a slight gradual increase. Now, with that said, with a higher increase in rates, that's where you'll probably see some adjustments in terms of purchase price and home pricing. So, but do I anticipate a bubble? I don't think so, because the individuals who are in mortgages right now are in a completely different type of loan program than we were prior to 2008. All those negative amortization loans and those weird, loan programs and state income programs are all pretty much gone. Most individuals who have mortgages and financing right now are individuals who put down a significant amount in down payment, or they've been fully underwritten in terms of income. So, naturally, we should see some foreclosures and things like that, but I don't see it as severe as it was in 2008. Maybe 5 to 10% adjustment is my guess, but not a bubble.
All right, thank you so much, Johnny. And if you think we did a good job, go ahead and smash that like button. If you still have not subscribed to the Real Biz Academy, do so right now and share today's content with your friends and relatives. And everybody have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, not during the night time, but 11 a.m. Good night.
Good night.